Okay, and we are back. Hello, Liv. Welcome in. Yeah, I had to run out real quick and lend the lawnmower to my next door neighbor. But we're back now. That's all that matters, and we have at least another hour, maybe another hour and a half of streaming today. Probably some more tomorrow, but certainly at least an hour more to go. Hello, Alice. Hello, Smithy. Hello.
Hello, James. We spoke like yesterday, but wanted to come back on because I just wanted to think. So I'm thinking about, you said your whole plan is to prevent life all throughout the universe and make sure it can't ever happen again. Would your group be satisfied with a 99.9, or would it have to be 100?
No, it's just about doing the best that we can do. So we can't control whether that's 100% or 99%. We just have to do our best.
So like, as long as it's the best to your abilities, you'd be fine with it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to refuse to help 5 out of 10 if we can't help 10 out of 10. We should just do everything that we can to help.
Oh, okay, perfect. I was just and you obviously, you're quite atheist. And do you believe in the Big Bang? That's how the world and everything came into existence.
Yeah, but there could be more to it than that, and
Yeah.
we have to research that for sure.
Yeah, and so just off that, the world and things as we know it came from just hydrogen atoms, very small things fusing together. How would you, as much as it is, as we could research, we wouldn't be able to destroy all of existence if we're in, like, in it. So I'm just wondering how.
We might be able to, but look, yeah, we don't know. These questions are, we can't predict what the future is going to look like a million years from now, and doing animal extinction on Earth, that already makes the movement valid, right? That the fact that we could start running the world tomorrow and immediately start preventing suffering, that already makes the movement valid. It's just, yeah, we should start and then just keep going and do as much as we can.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for coming on, Smithy. Moving on, we have, let's see who else we've got. Organic, we're going to bring you up, and let's see what you've got to say. Do you want to talk about the t-shirts and the hoodies?
That's a wonderful idea. Believe me, James. All right, James.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is horrendous, right, to observe suffering and to actually go through suffering. Anyone who thinks otherwise is inhumane. That's for me, right? All right. Now, would you say that science is progressing exponentially in the right direction?
Yeah.
All right, James. Now, consider this, right? What if, and before I get there, for all the religious persons, bear in mind that God actually caused extinction maybe once, maybe twice, and it didn't solve much of a problem. Science has recorded maybe 5 extinction since single cell and multicellular organisms, right?
Yeah.
Problem didn't solve. Now, James.
But they weren't total extinction.
Right, correct. Thank you for that.
They were
No,
partial extinction.
partial extinction. What if science could possibly remove the negative aspects of consciousness that triggers emotional suffering? And also, let's say they could modify our genes to a point where we could actually reduce physical suffering.
Yeah. It's like I always say, you can improve conditions as much as you want, but if there's a chance it can go wrong, if there's no certainty of safety, then it's just not worth it. You still have unlimited risk. It could go wrong. It could go terribly wrong. So, yeah, life should never exist without certainty of safety, because the alternative is unlimited risk. You can say, well, everything looks great, but it could go terribly wrong still, right?
All right. So you're saying that the risk and the chance that we would take to eliminate suffering on our own using biology is too much of a chance.
No, I'm saying that we should improve biology. We should improve everything while we're doing extinction. But unless we achieve certainty of safety, then it's not good enough. So no matter how good things get, we could be in a simulation, we could be, enjoying a virtual world. But if there's no certainty of safety, we would still abolish it, make it all go extinct.
I see. All right, my man. Have a good one.
All right, thank
The
you.
T-shirt. The T-shirt.
Yeah, we need to do that. Regarding the t-shirts, I looked into making a hoodie for the movement, but I could only find websites that for the hoodies that gave you like a small amount of space to put the design on. So I didn't think that was good enough. Ideally we want something that's like a big, cool design for the movement, but a lot of the websites only give you like a little square to put your design on. So if anyone else, if anyone knows how to solve that problem, let me know. But Organic, thank you for coming on. Pleasure as always. We have more people coming up next. So let's get some people up. Got Lucas joining us next. They've come on before. Let's get them up again. Lucas, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, so what method are we looking to use for applying this extinction?
Whichever method is best, basically. We have to find which is the most efficient, effective method. But there's lots of methods already, so it's really just about, fine-tuning it.
Bro, can I just tell you something that's very dangerous? I think you're playing with fire. So let me give you an example. I work with a lab.
Life is worse, right? Life is already
I work with a lab right now. So I do testing like genetic methylation. It's mostly nutrition. But as a data scientist, I have access to language models, right? And I already know that a biologist now with AI is able to kind of create stuff now that's very dangerous for us. Like I work with AI that just for argument's sake, sometimes I say, let's test the vulnerability of this particular web app, for instance, right? My AI already is like, oh, there's a vulnerability here. We can put a bug here. We can do a virus here. We can do this. We can break into the situation. That's today with very high-end like language models, right?
Okay, yeah.
If a malicious actor that has access to the stuff, they have the ability today to wipe like hundreds of thousands of people with much suffering. They're not gonna extinct the world, but they could do something similar to COVID, right? And it's dangerous, the movement that you're doing now, because what you're doing is you're creating the environment for which someone could just develop their kind of thinking and then implement something very horrible. And
what's the alternative? Just do nothing? Yeah, there might be collateral damage.
So you'd be happy if someone, for argument's sake, you'd be happy if someone were to do this today and then just like basically wipe a bunch of people for no good reason. So you'd be, if you're happy about that.
No.
Right, but you see that what you're doing here could cause people to take their turn.
So what do you suggest I do, Lucas? Nothing?
No, I think like what you are, the way you're thinking, it's valid, right? The world is very unequal, and people, like for instance, people are so ignorant, they don't know how to prevent a lot of stuff that they, with knowledge, they be able to improve their quality of lives. I think that like the countries should be able to apply better opportunities and equalize the
that sounds
situation.
like a load of nonsense and rubbish, Lucas, right? That does nothing to end suffering. What you're suggesting is much more dangerous, which is we should just allow the suffering and look away from it.
All right, no issues. All right, well, nice speaking to you anyway. Yeah, take care.
Okay, thank you for coming up with us. All right, we have more people coming up next. Let's see, who will it be? Hello,
Hello.
how's it going?
Good. I've got a bit of an alternative. What if instead of complete extinction, you just killed all the Jews?
Well, that would be horribly racist. And, I'm sure people are going to say, oh my God, you lost the debate, you had to kick him out. But yeah, we're going to have to kick him out. Sorry. All right. The queue is now officially empty. So we need more volunteers, more courageous volunteers. If you're an extreme racist, please don't come up. If you're an insane, completely insane person, maybe you should come up, right? Maybe it'll make for good content. But racism, that's a big no-no. So, yeah, nobody whatsoever is in the queue right now. We are desperate for guests, debatees, discussions. We need people to come up and defend their position, to argue their position. Can you defend suffering? Do you support the end of suffering, the ban and prohibition of suffering? Do you support providing safety so that nobody has to suffer? Or do you think we should just let them rot, let them burn, and we should look away and ignore the screams, try to block out the screams while we focus on Netflix? Which do you think? Should we ignore sufferers and let them scream while we ignore them? Or should we make sure that nobody has to suffer ever again? Join the stage now. Join the debate, right? We need somebody to come up. Maybe if I put some makeup on, we'll actually get people coming up. What do we think? Should we do it? Should we start using some TikTok effects? Will that get us some more debates? Who knows? So absolutely, we need people to come up and say, yes, I will do activism. I will help end all suffering for everyone. Or are you going to say, no, I can't be bothered. It sounds like too much effort. So, look, if you have questions, even if you have embarrassing questions, silly questions, come up and I will answer them. And I will, if you ask nicely especially, then I will try to go easy on you. So, again, when I joined the movement, for the first few months, I had loads of embarrassing questions. I didn't understand it fully. But I do now, and you do have to ask those embarrassing questions to improve your understanding sometimes. So if you have a niggling doubt in the back of your head, if there's something that you've never really understood about this idea, come up now. Let's hear your questions, let's hear your doubts. I will clarify everything for you. Or I will destroy you in a debate, whatever you prefer. All right, we have somebody coming up now. Let's do it. Hello.
What's good?
Not much. We live in a terrible world of suffering.
So we should all die?
We should all be safe from suffering, even if it
So
means not
dying
existing.
dying would being safe?
Say what?
Dying would be safe from suffering?
Well, yeah, you rest in peace, right? You don't rest in suffering.
What if we all had one big orgy? Would that cancel the dying part?
That would absolutely help a lot, and I totally support that. But we'll do that right before the extinction, okay? All right, moving on. Kelly is joining us next. Kelly, bringing you up onto the stage now. Should we abolish suffering for life, or should we allow it to suffer?
Well, there are many ways to end suffering without the causing of extinction. We
What,
could
like
simply
magic?
make the world a better place.
Promagic.com? Promagic.com.
No, we have Men's Mental Health Month, which makes the world people remember the importance of men's health.
That's
so we
it.
can
So wild animals being eaten alive.
prioritize that celebration first.
We need a mental health month for wild animals being eaten alive.
We'll get to that.
Okay, thank you so much. I cannot wait to see your wild animal suffering mental health month.com. That will definitely end all suffering. Fantastic idea. Moving on to the next person. Mr. Chronicle is joining us next. Should we abolish suffering?
I would say that, suffering's a bad thing. I'm just a little bit confused as to how total extinction is the solution because, dying is a painful thing. So I'm curious to see how you would seek to minimize the suffering in the causing of the extinction.
Yeah, we should do it as painlessly as possible, but even if it's painful, it's still going to be better than the alternative, right? If dying is painful, then extinction is your friend. It means that there'll be less people dying instead of billions of years of it happening over and over again.
I mean, fair enough. That was the only question I had. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Thank you for coming up. Yeah, I absolutely support people coming up, even if you just have one question. That's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to improve your understanding of ethics and suffering. What's right? What's wrong? What should we do? Yeah, you should start asking questions, and I'm happy to answer them for you. Hello, how you doing?
So, do you live in the UK?
I do, yes.
And you're running for governor or something like that? PM?
I am the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. This is what I do in my spare time, yeah.
If you were Prime Minister, how many people would you take out?
Ideally, everyone.
Right, I've got that clipped. You're getting reported, bro.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming up. Yeah, I absolutely encourage people to do clips, and loads of people are making edits of me and clips, and it's really encouraging to see the movement growing like that. Hello, how you doing?
Hi. I just have a couple questions because I personally don't 100% agree with what you're saying, but I understand why you're saying it.
Okay.
But from my understanding, I'll just start with my understanding before you tell me yours. So then you can extrapolate mine if you want or whatever you want to say. But so wouldn't you say, philosophically speaking, that human or life forms in general aren't necessarily meant to, how would I put this? They're not meant to be good or bad. It's just an objective. And I think the objective at the end of the day is to survive, mind you. And oftentimes, people will tell you things
The
like,
objective. Who gave you an objective? That's like saying there's meaning, there's
it's
purpose.
evolution.
It's just cope, right? It's not real.
It's not,
You just made it
well,
up. You just
well,
made it up.
I think personally it's evolution saying this because based off
Right,
of
evolution is not a person, right? It's not actually saying anything.
yeah, but that's also subjective terminology that you're using.
Well, it's subjective whether or not evolution has a brain.
Well, I mean, it doesn't need consciousness. It's just the act of what it does. It's
a random, natural, chaotic process. It doesn't do things for good reasons. It's just the way things.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't do. We're chaos.
But you're saying it's giving us a purpose. It never gave us a purpose.
No, it gave us the purpose to survive, essentially.
It forced us to have to survive. It didn't give us a purpose. It forced us to have to survive.
No. My internal
What do you mean, no?
understanding. My internal understanding of history of nature, of how it started out, was that it needed to extrapolate from its own source, essentially. It needed to get out of itself, its own shell, essentially. For example, let's say mushrooms, from mushrooms to plants, and from plants to fish, from fish to evolution.
No, you got it wrong. Nature and evolution do not have plans or desires or motivations. You're essentially seeing a random process in nature and saying, "Oh, there must be a brain controlling."
No, I never said there was a brain.
But you did. You said that it has a mind, right?
Not necessarily. I didn't.
You
say
did,
that.
though. You did. You said it doesn't have to have a physical brain to have a mind and to have motivations and yeah. You're saying it's doing these things on purpose. You're crazy.
No, that's just your brain trying to justify or understand what I'm trying to tell you. But
no, it's really not. You're saying that it has to do these things for a reason. It doesn't.
No, there's no brain behind it. It's just life. That's how life functions because we live in a universal.
But saying it's just life is like saying I can't actually think about this properly, so I'm just going to say it's life.
Okay, well then let's get down to business. Have you ever seen the cosmic web, mycelium, and things of that nature, like neurons in the brains, and how closely they correlate towards each other, and how they're designed to be very similar together? Like they look very similar. Look them up: mycelium, cosmic web,
Right.
and then
So now you believe in God, and you've probably taken some mycelium mushrooms and got a trip out of it, and now you think out your suffering's good. You're done. You're finished. Moving on to Mr. Nizar. Mr. Nizar is joining us now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. How you doing?
Fine, and you?
Good. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I wanted to say, how do you want to end suffering without people getting killed? And
Well, no, you have to
would,
do that. You have to do that.
yeah, okay. I think that the easiest way would be to sterilize everyone, right?
No, it would be to euthanize everyone, because sterilization doesn't help those who are begging for death. It's just a slap in the face to them.
Okay, but like if everyone gets sterilized, like in no time, in like, I mean, 100 years or so, there will be no new life, right? Or
Right, but again, that's not ethical. It doesn't help those who actually need it today.
so you're saying we have to get it as advanced as we can to end all life in the whole universe, or like?
Yeah, but I mean, we are a tiny, tiny portion of the population on this planet. Most of the life here is wild animals, and we should absolutely start by helping to end their suffering and to prevent, to try and prevent this ever happening again for as much of the world as we can.
Okay, but that's like one thing I've thought about. Like, we don't know if aliens even suffer, because aliens
Right, but it's
could
better
be
safe
everything.
than sorry. It's better safe than sorry, and we do know
Yeah.
that they probably will suffer because suffering is a very essential part of life, basically.
Yeah, but like we don't know if aliens. I don't know. Aliens could be silicon based. They could be breathing. I don't know, water. And it's like
Right, but
an
it's better
unknown
safe
thing.
than
Like,
sorry. It's better
yeah,
safe than sorry.
but it could also be like turnaround, like for them to think about death, like as in something being inherently bad, or like, you know what I mean. It's a hard thing, and I don't know if there's a clear answer to that.
Yeah. Well, look, the thing is, non-existence is better than existence, okay? Because you don't realize that until you are the one begging for death, wishing you'd not been born. Sorry, just trying a filter. It's funny.
Okay. Yeah. I know I sound pretty slow, but it's because English is my first language. So yeah. What I'm trying to say is like, I don't think you can just say that the same stuff applies to all life outside of Earth, because we don't know enough, and yeah.
Bro, come on. It's better safe than sorry, right? Look, most of the developed advanced life on this planet, it does suffer because the suffering helps it survive. So without suffering, you wouldn't feel hungry and you wouldn't understand the severity of your hunger. And the same goes with pain. Pain helps you survive so that you know what to do, what not to do. And so, yeah, it's most likely that life in the universe will be suffering.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
even if most life wasn't suffering, it would still be the right thing to do because it could evolve to start suffering. And even if only a small minority was suffering, we would still do everything because no one deserves to suffer. And the chance and risk and possibility of suffering, which could happen a billion years from now or tomorrow, whatever, that's also unacceptable.
Okay, but like, isn't that also a little bit egoistical to, like, for example, let's say, I'm going to give you an extreme example. Let's say, I don't know, I suffer for like 2 seconds, and there's an advanced civilization who experiences pleasure for like 100 years. Is that then like my 2 seconds of suffering? Is it worth killing everyone? That's like what I'm trying to know.
Yeah, it's a good question, and actually, I've been thinking about this sort of question myself. What is the sort of can we test the rule? Let's stress test the rule that we should have a zero tolerance policy on suffering, and the ultimate stress test for that would be to say you could have infinite pleasure for infinite beings, and would you take all of that away to prevent a little bit of suffering for one person for a short period of time? And that's when it sort of gets a bit harder to justify. But ultimately, if you're not going to help the one person to be safe from suffering, then by default, you have infinite acceptance of suffering at that point. So if you're going to take away the infinite pleasure to help, 1 million people or infinite people, then it makes sense to also do it for one person. And also, the real sort of one of the most core main logics behind all of this is essentially that if you care about life and you actually care about if they suffer and you really care about them, instead of, because most people view the suffering of others as something that they don't want to care about. So that's why they struggle to understand what's right and wrong, because they don't actually care about others in the first place. So you can't really make a full and correct decision about what's right for someone if you don't even care for them, don't care about them, and especially when caring about them costs you, right? It has a negative impact on you. So that's the current system. So when you do care about everyone, and if we did care about the infinite people having pleasure and then just the one person suffering, the thing is, it would probably strain you a little bit more, strain your empathy to care about that one person. But really what all of this comes down to is caring about the suffering of others. And if you care about it fully and properly, then you will understand that it's unacceptable, that helping them is more important than people having fun, which is unnecessary and doesn't have to happen. So if we don't give them pleasure, nothing bad happens. But if we don't help the sufferer, something, the worst thing possible happens, basically.
Are there people like, I don't know if it's possible for someone to have like a type of mental disorder, but I think there are people that enjoy suffering. I don't know if that's
but there's people that enjoy pineapple on pizza. It doesn't mean that everyone should be forced to eat pineapple on pizza.
Yeah. I don't know why some people enjoy suffering, but I think that's also something that exists. So
I would say that when they're not suffering, they are suffering.
Yeah, probably so. I'd say like there's not a definite answer to this because it's like a topic that's really...
No, there is a definite answer, which is that everyone should be safe from suffering. Life should not exist without certainty of safety, because then it's in unlimited danger.
Yeah, but it could also be, some alien civilization. Like alien civilizations are like the only thing that you
but there
like,
could be some
about.
alien civilizations, but you don't care about what if there's some aliens suffering terribly.
Yeah, we don't know the size of the universe, so
right. But again, you're saying let's not be responsible. Let's not consider maybe they're suffering. Let's just ignore them. That's what you're saying.
I don't know.
I don't blame you for it. That's how humanity evolved, right? Humanity has unfortunately evolved to say, let's ignore the danger, ignore the suffering. Let's not say, oh, what if they're suffering? Let's ignore them, right? Let's just assume that they're happy, that there's no suffering, right? It's a fantasy, right? It's not rational.
Okay. Yeah, it's a hard thing to say and to talk about, because I don't know anybody that likes to hear about like total extinction, because it's like
I know lots of people. I know loads of people.
Yeah, because you're inside the circle. But like normally, I think if you go to someone and just tell them, yeah, the world has to die, they would think that you're mentally ill, because they wouldn't like. It's like a It's like it's very philosophical, I think. Yeah, it's very philosophical, and
it's not philosophy. It's action.
It is.
It's saying
Because
it's saying let's stop the suffering. Let's do it. Take action today. Let's do it.
yeah.
Philosophy is kind of the opposite of action.
Is it?
Yeah,
I mean,
usually, yeah.
Yeah, but like talking about ethics and stuff is philosophy, right?
No. Most philosophy is not about ethics. It's just like it's just you should be more selfish. It's that kind of rubbish, right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is a pretty interesting topic. Thank you for the conversation and
yeah. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Nizar. And yeah, it was a good conversation. Feel free to read more about the movement on our website, proextinction.com. Read the manifesto, the FAQ, educate yourself, and watch some of the videos being made by myself and other people in the movement. All right, bringing on our next guest. Let's see who we have. We have quite a lot of people. It's clear psychosis gradually expressing. Well, you know, a selfish person would think that, yeah, safety from psychosis. Hello. Yes, do you have any questions for us?
I don't really got a questions. I just wanna know from your perspective why we all have to die.
It's that we should all be safe from suffering, right? Right now we have unlimited danger, unlimited risk of extreme hell-like suffering where you wish you hadn't been born. You're begging for death. So nobody should be in that danger, and it's not fair.
Okay, can I ask you what's your beliefs or religion?
Atheist.
Atheist. All right. I am agnostic too. So, you know, I also think about what you are saying right now about human suffering, and one day I also think that I want to get born a baby.
Yeah, Mr. Prest, unfortunately you're having audio issues. It's very difficult to hear you. So feel free to join the queue again and maybe try and come up later. But we're going to move on to somebody else now. We have Seraphim. Hello.
Yo, I just wanted to ask, what do you think about nihilism and do you believe in it?
I don't describe myself as a nihilist, but I don't believe in meaning, if that helps.
All right, understandable. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming up. Yeah, if you have a single question or lots of questions, feel free to come up and we'll answer them. Doesn't matter if it's just one question. Hello, how you doing?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Should I call you James?
Are you in a playground?
Yeah. Currently enjoying life, but I had a few questions for you actually.
Yeah, go on.
So, I know the previous person asked if you were a nihilist. So you would consider yourself you're not a nihilist?
I don't know. I don't really know that much about nihilism. It's always seemed like a worthless, pointless thing to me. So maybe I am a nihilist, maybe I'm not. I don't really care. But I can tell you that I don't believe meaning exists.
Okay, so that would come under the framework of nihilism. But would you say that it's a good thing to? I'm assuming you do. You say it's a good thing to end all suffering, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so would you say that life isn't worth pursuing or living?
Yeah, I would say that
because of suffering.
There are probably, there's not I can't guarantee this, but there is a chance that some of your children in that playground would be better off not existing, right? So life is better off not existing. Only the lucky ones benefit ultimately. And, even the people that feel like they're lucky now or having a good time now, there's a good chance that they'll end up in a terrible situation where they are begging for death, wishing they hadn't been born, right? And you can say, oh, that only happens when you're old. Well, that can still be terrible, and it can still make it so that you would have been better off not even being born.
Okay, would you say the same for yourself? Would you say that it's better off if you didn't live?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So everyone is in unacceptable danger. Everyone, right?
Okay.
So we would all be better off being safe from that. But the only way to make sure that, you know, it's done in a fair and universal way is to do it in an organized way and a peaceful activism way.
Okay, but I just would like you to help me understand this point because if you would say that the life isn't worth living and that life is essentially meaningless, I wouldn't understand why you would, well, you've given yourself meaning, which is total extinction, but I feel
Well,
like
no, it's out of
it's
moral
kind of redundant.
obligation and
But
empathy.
a moral obligation to what? It's meaningless.
Well, no, it's not because it's about helping those that need help.
But again, you said that the pinnacle of the what you said is the most important thing is that suffering should end. So I'm not telling you you should probably end your life because I really would not like that to happen. I'm just saying that if you did believe that, then and nothing else truly mattered, or if you
Well,
are
no,
saying
no, it's that we should be fair, right? We shouldn't just
okay,
help ourselves. We should make sure that everyone is safe.
okay, so your meaning, the thing that you give the most meaning to in this life is to end suffering. That gives you, as I've asked you at the start, that gives you great pleasure and joy, right?
It's not about getting pleasure and joy. It's about having a responsibility and obligation, right? We have to do this, otherwise we would be hypocritical. And you know, it would be very wrong, very selfish to just ignore the sufferers and to not help them.
Again, like you're saying wrong and immoral, but again, according to what?
Well,
That's
yeah,
your frame.
you see, some people have no principles, no ethics whatsoever, like yourself, right? Who would literally let anyone suffer and not lift a finger to help them. But some people have empathy, they have guilt, they have principles, they have morality and ethics, and yeah, they will say, "I'll do the right thing" instead of "I'll do the wrong thing to benefit myself," right? Which is what most people like yourself would do.
The point I'm trying to make here is that there are things above, like trying
Above,
to.
yeah, yeah. There's being selfish, right? That's above being a good person for you, right? But for people who were born with empathy, we care more about doing the right thing, yeah,
Okay.
even if it's not selfish.
Okay, so the point I was trying to make was that there are things like in your pursuit of this your movement, right? You may suffer in the process, right?
Yeah.
So, but in the whole idea is that you fulfill this idea, and through it you suffer, and it's kind of like a Nietzschean type of thing where
No, it's
you
really nothing to do with Nietzsche. It's just empathy. You wouldn't understand that, right? Because most humans evolved to not have empathy, right? Which is why they say, "Help other people." What are you? What? So it's like an alien concept to them. But yeah, for people that were born with empathy, it means that we actually care about others and doing the right thing. But yeah, most humans, that's like a really strange concept to them. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
A little bit, yeah. Try and speak up.
Yeah, I'm just not a lot to debate. I think you're right. There's a lot of suffering on Earth, and in the book of Job, it talks about why didn't I just die right away when I came out of the womb? Why go through the suffering?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, the Bible is just a coping mechanism for crazy people, basically, who effectively don't have enough brain capacity to understand the world properly. So, for atheists, or you know, especially for the more intelligent atheists, the smarter ones, the more rational ones, it's just very obvious that there is no, you know, there is no Jesus, right? No God would create a world like this. Basically, that's obvious. No God would put PDF files and children on the same planet and then give them free will. So yeah, religion, I've got no time for it really. It really is just you know, like schizophrenia, basically. James, careful what you say. You can get reported for that. Have you been watching my channel? Right? It's a miracle that I've not been banned yet from any of my videos. Right, let's see who else we got. Shembaoi coming on next. Let's see. Hello, how you doing?
Yo, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, alright. So first of all, you're a big hypocrite because you're talking about extinction being the best solution to everybody and you're still alive. So I don't understand why you don't end your suffering, right?
Well, actually, I would be more hypocritical if I did only help myself, right? Instead of
Alright.
saying we should end all if I said we should end all suffering and then I only ended mine, that would be hypocritical.
Yeah, right. Because you have empathy. You talked about empathy before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have empathy and your empathy is to end all suffering. This is the empathy that you have.
To provide safety, fairness, to help those that are suffering. Yeah.
Right. So if you see someone in danger, someone who is, let's say, who suffers, you would just go up to them and kill them, right?
No.
No? Why? You have empathy.
Because we have to do things in a strategic way, right? That would get me
Strategic
arrested.
way. What do you mean strategic way? What do you want to kill them like chickens when they don't feel the pain?
Do you know what strategy is?
Yeah, I do know what a strategy is. So what is your strategy?
So why are you so surprised that there has to be strategy?
What is your strategy then? To extinct
why don't you answer
everyone.
my question?
What is your question?
Why are you so surprised that there has to be a strategy in order to implement a universal system for all?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm just saying.
It sounds like you are surprised, like it's a
No,
mind-blowing idea.
You are evading my questions now. You're evading my questions.
What's your question? What's your silly question? What is it?
I just asked you, if you have so much empathy and you see someone suffering, why don't you just go there and end his life?
Because I would get arrested, basically, and then I wouldn't be able to keep growing the movement.
Right. So how many people have you helped to extinct themselves all this time?
Well, again, nobody, because I would get arrested, right?
Right. So you haven't helped anybody, and all you talk
Somebody
about is empathy.
advocating for euthanasia to be legalized, you would say you should go around killing people. That will help the cause.
No,
right?
you said that. You said total.
No. I'm saying
extinction.
we shouldn't do that.
So total.
Right, that's it. You're done. You're finished. You're absolutely done. Okay. All right. I mean that's just a crazy person, right? But that's another good example of how humanity 1.0 is just full of completely genetically inferior, insane people. Hello, how you doing?
Hi. I was watching you live yesterday. I have a question. You said that sorry if you can hear any noises in the background, it's my dog.
Okay.
If you haven't, you said that there's like two types of, how did you say it? It was you're either pro-life or pro-extinction.
I mean, I guess so, right?
What about people who want the option to choose and have, pro-choice?
Yeah, but the thing is that they're not making informed decisions. So life has evolved to make uninformed decisions and to be irresponsible when it comes to suffering and life itself, right? So right now, the current mentality is that it's fine if anyone gets tortured. We shouldn't do anything to prevent it. We should make it so that psychopaths can just buy animals and torture them, have children and torture them, right? We have the lowest respect for life possible, and people have the same low respect for themselves. So, they'll smoke cigarettes and say, I don't care if I get cancer 10 years from now. They'll drink themselves to an early grave. They do all sorts of terrible things, right? Humans are not making responsible decisions at all. And so we give them the ultimate responsibility of saying, right, you can be responsible for life, the most important thing, even though they're very irresponsible. So, yeah, essentially, the problem is that we have, without certainty of safety, life should never exist because it's by default in unlimited danger of extreme suffering, which can make you wish you'd never been born, beg for death, etc. And so the unlucky ones will always face the worst consequences of a system like that. And it's just not fair. But everyone is also still in that same unlimited danger. And so that's not good for them either.
The thing about smoking and drinking and stuff, is that also not just your own choice though? Like you people are well aware that that can cause suffering in the long term, but
they're not
has
making
that any impact on other people
They're
though?
not making a properly informed decision.
Yeah, but it's their own decision though.
Right, but it's an ill-informed decision.
Regardless of that though.
No, well, why should we disregard that?
Because it's their own body.
Right, but if people make bad decisions for themselves all the time, which is prevented by society, right? So the idea that we should just let people do whatever they want, that's never been a thing anyway.
If it's letting people do what they want in terms of not harming anyone else though, then why is that a problem? Like I'm in agreement with you that
because
smoking and drinking causes suffering, but at the end of the day, that's not impacting anyone else.
Allowing people to make incredibly dangerous, ill-informed decisions is not a good thing.
Right,
and
okay.
If you let people do that, what will happen is they'll regret it terribly and say, "Oh God, I wish I hadn't done this." But
you don't know that though.
Well, but it's better safe than sorry, and most likely it will happen. Yeah.
So you're just making choices for people and taking away their autonomy, essentially.
That's never. What are you, an anarchist?
Well, no.
Well, it sounds like it.
How?
Do you realize how many laws you're under the thumb of right now? Are you doing protest against the government for trying to control your life?
Sorry, repeat that.
Are you doing protests against the government for trying to control your life?
I'm not actively protesting right now, but
what a shock.
Well, no, I agree that the government, are rubbish at the minute, but I'm not. I mean, there isn't any protest to go to right now in my area, so no.
Yeah. I was obviously being sarcastic, but obviously you're not very serious. You're done. So yeah, no, we shouldn't let people make incredibly ill-informed, misinformed, unlimitedly extremely dangerous decisions, right? You wouldn't let a baby do whatever it wants and then end up, harming itself, drinking poison and saying, well, that's its decision, right? That's just ridiculous. And, if you say, well, yeah, we should let people make, the most dangerous and the most misinformed decisions ever, then you're not doing right by them. You're literally letting them walk into danger that they're not aware of. So, I mean, look, someone earlier on the stream, on the last stream, they were like, yeah, there is no danger. So they're making insanely ill-informed decisions. Hello, how are you doing? Okay, let's see who else we got. I think we have a troll joining us next. Bringing up a potential troll now. We might have to pay the fee for the bridge, the toll. No, the bridge troll has left. Left for another day. Okay, see who else we've got. Quite a few people in the queue. Will they be pro-suffering or pro-safety from suffering? Will they be evil or will they be good? Let's see who we've got. Hello, how you doing?
Good, thank you. How about you, bro?
Good, thank you.
I'm just curious, how is it going to be done? Can you extinct everybody?
Why do you want to know?
Well, I'm just curious for the sake of the movement. Like, I don't know how it would become so, because are you not maybe concerned that in an effort to bring this about, that you'll increase the amount of suffering and then fail the end objective? Like, is that maybe a concern?
No. The vast majority of suffering is independent of humanity.
Oh, you mean by way of animals and whatnot?
Yeah.
So would the movement extrapolated out to its end goal kill all of the animals first and then all of the humans afterwards?
Yeah.
And for the sake of the movement, because it seems as though you're quite dedicated to this, like, are there any, like thoughts in the process of how you would manage to kill trillions of life forms?
Euthanasia. We've already made several species of animals go extinct. It's really not that hard.
I don't mean the animals. I mean more specifically the humans. I think that humans could probably extinct a lot of animals, but wouldn't it increase the amount of human suffering in attempt to bring this about, especially if you failed?
No, because they're going to suffer terribly for billions of more years unless we do this.
And do you have any inkling of how it would be done, though? Because it's like, obviously the movement would eventually have to accomplish it, right?
Euthanasia.
Voluntarily, or would you just arrest people against their will and then just slaughter them?
It would be against their will.
Okay. And does that not increase the amount of suffering, though? Like, wouldn't that almost have to be
no, because it does the opposite, right? It ends suffering. It prevents suffering. The suffering that you could cause with extinction is negligible. It's basically nothing compared to the suffering that you're preventing.
Happen instantaneously, right? Like, it would be a grievous period of time while, like, you're captured. It wouldn't happen instantly, though, like, likely. So it would just be absolutely grievous for however long it was that you were just rounding up everybody and murdering them.
It really...
And that would be it.
No, it really wouldn't be that bad, right? For the sufferers, they'll be looking forward to it. They'll be begging for it. And for those who aren't suffering, yeah, they'll be... they'll be a bit upset that their privilege is being taken away from them, but it's not actually going to cause them any significant suffering.
When you say privilege, do you mean like the privilege to be alive?
Yeah.
And so, how would the movement acquiesce the necessary political power to have all of the military influence to round up everybody and murder them?
Yeah, so we have to grow the movement until we have enough people to make it possible. And we're doing that by, doing activism, and we're also doing it by donating sperm so that we can have thousands of children who, maybe millions, right? Who, over time will grow up to be potential new activists because they'll have more genetic empathy and rationality as extinctionists do.
So the movement is also planning on raising as many slaves as possible to be part of the movement.
Yeah, well, children, yeah.
Child slaves?
Well, I mean, they wouldn't be slaves exactly.
I mean, they're created with the express purpose to serve your ideology, though. I mean, that's the definition of a slave. Against their will, in fact, as well.
I mean, yeah, but, all life is slavery, right? So if you need to create a few slaves to end slavery itself, then it's the right thing to do.
And would you maybe not be concerned that, like, there could be a small amount of people that still survive? Like, I just don't know. How would you get every single person?
And regarding, people are saying you're going to bring more people into the world. No, donating sperm doesn't increase the number of people coming into the world. They'll be coming in anyway. It just gives them better genetics. But in terms of people surviving, yeah, we need the most thorough extinction possible. So that's one of the most important things. So yeah, don't rush it. Don't leave any alive. Be as thorough as possible.
And are you not concerned maybe that people within the movement will kind of try to throw off their coat after a while once they can kind of be like the kings of the new world?
No, because it's about recognizing that without certainty of safety, you're in unlimited danger for very little reward. So extinctionists are people that will, be happy to embrace safety.
And would you say that your life as an individual is pure suffering?
No.
So is the capacity for good just in your worldview completely outweighed?
Yeah. Infinitely, right? Unlimited danger of unlimited, extreme hell-like suffering where you're wishing you'd never been born. And then, times that by like 1 million, right? Imagine it being, cartoonishly bad. That's actually realistic. So, most people...
Wait, what do you mean? Why is that realistic? Is that just the way that you see humanity progressing?
No, because people see the chance of something terrible happening to them as impossible, right? Unrealistic, cartoonishly unrealistic, when actually it is the reality that could very well happen to you. So yeah, absolutely, non-existence and safety from unlimited danger is the best thing for everyone.
So safety from unlimited danger by way of the worst danger imaginable being enacted on a world scale.
What do you mean by the worst danger imaginable?
Death.
Well, what, you don't think there's anything worse than death?
At least, at the very least, danger extrapolated out to its natural conclusion is death.
No, that doesn't make any sense. So would you ban euthanasia?
Is it legal now? It's not legal in the nation. I'm an American,
Okay,
so it's not legal here.
Would you ban it worldwide?
No, I don't think so. I don't think a blatant
Why?
ban.
So death isn't the worst thing then?
I mean, mass scale death of absolutely everybody against their will certainly would be the worst thing. Like that's like the
really.
That is against, yeah.
So to rest in peace is worse than being tortured for 100 years.
I guess you'd have to be absolutely certain that like whatever happens after death is nothing, right? Like that's a pretty strong claim.
So, what about before death?
What about it?
So you think so in the same way that you think we have to be sure of if there's an afterlife, do you think that we have to be sure about if souls that come into this world are suffering beforehand, so as to where they're better off being born because it will take them out of hell?
I don't think I understood that. Do you mind rephrasing that?
Yeah, you're saying that we shouldn't euthanize anyone ever because they could go to super hell. So do you also believe that we should bring more life into this world to bring it out of super hell?
Well, I don't think that this world is in super hell.
That's not what I said.
I think that the way.
All right, you're done. You're done. Look, these reincarnation people, these afterlife people, they're just like, you try and have a rational, you actually try and talk to them about what they've just said, and they're like, what? It's like, that's what you said. I'm trying to explore your beliefs here, and they're like, yeah, that does sound stupid. You're right. Well, that's giving them too much credit. But in my dreams, that's what they say. They say, "Yeah, you're right. It is silly." Zoe Lim, hello. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing all right. I just injured my right foot actually. No. How do you go about this total extinction thing? Because I think like the only way to cause total extinction is to educate people to stop having sex, so that a baby cannot be born. Like the whole world needs to stop having sex.
How would that cause animal extinction?
I'm not sure, but at least it can cause human extinction if the whole world stop having sex.
So is that good enough?
I mean, animals cannot survive without humans, right?
Why?
Because they need humans to feed them and such.
So before humans existed, there were no animals?
There is, but do they even know they're suffering? I don't think animals know they're suffering. Only humans know they're suffering.
Zoe, thank you so much for that amazing conversation. These people that say, do animals suffer? Right? They're the same people that would walk past someone, abusing their dog and say, should I care about this? Maybe the dog doesn't feel pain. Instead of saying, oh my God, that dog could be suffering terribly right now, they say, it probably doesn't feel anything. See you later. Keep abusing that dog, right? It doesn't hurt it. Right? It's just insanity, right? It's the same mentality that says, if you abuse a baby, it probably doesn't matter, right? It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Okay, moving on.
Hello, James.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay, thanks. You?
Yeah, good.
Hi, James. I've just got a question to ask you.
Yeah.
You're not a vegan. I just wondered why. I'm not challenging you. I'm just wondering if you could provide an explanation. You might enlighten me to something.
Yeah, so veganism actually causes more suffering and worse suffering because it transfers suffering onto wild animals. So vegans discriminate against wild animals. They don't care about them. and they think that their suffering is good, actually.
I hear you. I hear you. I
No.
personally don't.
So,
I personally don't think any suffering's good.
a vegan world would have much more suffering and much worse suffering. There would be no deforestation. There would be, ginormous amounts of land would be given back to wild animals, who would suffer way worse as a result.
Thank you for advice.
Yeah, you're lagging, so we're going to take you out. But if you really want to know more about why veganism causes more suffering, the best explanation, or one of the best explanations, is on our website. So go to proextinction.com, go on the full FAQ, the full FAQ, the large one, and go to question 33 near the bottom. We've got charts and a very thorough, detailed explanation on why, at the moment, veganism does cause more suffering. It's, veganism, they never talk about wild animals ever, right? Because they don't care about them. Vegan agriculture takes up 1/5 of the space that farmed animal agriculture takes up, because you have to feed so much food to the animals. So it's very inefficient, right? You've probably heard vegans saying that, farming animals is very inefficient. It's very poor in efficiency. You only get 20% of the calories efficiently, or something like that. But that's actually a good thing. Our inefficient use of land with farmed animals, and chopping down forests and all of the other non-vegan stuff, and overfishing, for example. These are actually massively good things that prevent suffering. Nature is literally just something that creates animals and tortures them. And tortures them worse than animal farming does, right? At least on farms, you get euthanasia, medicine, food, shelter, safety. Euthanasia, right? You don't get eaten alive. Okay, let's see who else we got. So, both farmed animals and wild animals, they suffer terribly, and it should all be abolished with extinction. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man? So is your argument actually that all wildlife should go extinct, or is it just anti-veganism?
No, it's not anti-vegan by any means. If veganism reduced suffering, we would support it very happily, but it just doesn't at the minute. So we should do animal extinction while removing our dependence on them, so that we can be vegan. But at the minute, to go vegan in the current context, that causes more suffering. So we need to solve that problem.
So practically speaking, how would you go about causing this extinction to what species? All species? And how would that it all be worth it? Having to use resources in order to do that? Because I feel that would just mess up ecosystems and make life worse.
Ecosystems don't have feelings, right? They don't have needs.
No, but it would affect humans tangentially, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So absolutely, we should remove our dependence on animals. So replace our dependence while doing animal extinction. So yeah, making it so that we don't have to eat them, we can eat other things, etc.
So would that include animals in farms and stuff like that, for agricultural animals, chickens, cows, pigs?
We should make it so that there is not a single animal on the planet.
So okay, I'm really just trying to understand. So how is that helping us? So now we can't eat any animals because they're all extinct. So it's only humans.
It's not about helping us. You're thinking from a selfish perspective. So it's about helping the animals, and then we do human extinction after we've done as much as we can to prevent.
Wait, how is that? Wait, hold on. So it's about helping the animals, but you're talking about killing all the animals. So how's that helping them?
Because they suffer too terribly, right? They would be better off not existing.
But who are you to just decide for the animals? You're basically
animals can't decide
acting like
for
you're the
themselves.
arbiter of.
Who am I? Well, but we're intelligent beings that can make decisions, right? Animals can't make decisions. We can. So yeah, we should make decisions for animals.
Yeah, but you're acting like your word is the gospel. It would be better off. Well, what if I don't think it would be better off? If I love my dog, I'm not going to kill it. What about pets? A lot of pets have perfectly happy lives. Do you think that that people should just, kill their pets.
Yeah,
They're animals too.
the problem is that you're not accounting for how unfair it is.
What's unfair?
So if you allow people to have pets, then people are going to abuse them.
Well, some people do, but some people don't.
Yeah, but it's
So
not
what about
fair,
all
is
the-
it?
Okay, so should all the people who don't abuse their pets, like their pets should also be killed because some people do?
Well, yeah, you have to ban ownership on pets basically to guarantee that no pet gets abused again.
Well, what percentage
There's no
of
way
pets-
to have like an abusable system and for it to be ethical.
So that's like you can make that argument against because there's plenty of things that exist in the world where there's like a minority of people who are causing issues. Like people drive cars, but every now and then there's car accidents.
The
So should
sufferers are
solution be
causing
that
issues, are they? The sufferers are causing issues. Yeah,
No, no,
you
no,
said
but-
that. You sound like a very selfish person.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to make any statements about you, but I'm just saying, that would be similar if I said, well, some people get into car accidents, so we should just abolish cars. It seems like an asinine statement. We should abolish pets and
Well,
kill
no, it's a different
pets and
thing.
kill
That
animals.
wouldn't make much sense, right?
But that's similar to your
context.
pet argument. So there's
How?
some people who
How?
there's some people who abuse pets, and so therefore, to have a perfectly fair system, no one could have a pet now. Even though most people I wouldn't think abuse their animals.
So why do we need to have an unfair system that generates the worst harm possible?
Well, it sounds like that's what you're advocating for. You're saying that we should kill all animals.
How would that generate the worst harm possible?
Because you're killing. Okay, well, how do you even define harm? Because killing all animals seems to fall
You're
within the
struggling
definition
here.
of harm.
You're struggling here.
I mean, it goes without saying. It's pretty intuitive that killing you're saying that we should kill all the animals and then humans should extinct ourselves, is what you're saying?
It sounds like
So
you're
then
really,
how is that not causing harm? I mean, isn't
sounds
it
like
death?
you're really struggling here.
I'm not. I'm just saying, would that not be conducive to causing harm, killing all life on the planet?
No. The real harm is extreme suffering. So, euthanasia, it doesn't really cause suffering. It just provides safety from suffering.
Okay, well, it just sounds like you have a very bleak view on the world, that life itself is
It
suffering.
sounds
I
like
mean,
you have an incredibly naive and ignorant view on the world.
So I'm naive and ignorant because I don't think that the solution to suffering, because I agree there is suffering in the
You
world.
don't
is
even
to
think
just
we should
kill-
solve
is to
it.
just
You don't
euthanize and
even
kill
think
everything?
we should solve suffering.
Huh?
You don't even think we should solve suffering.
I think we could attempt to. Obviously, the reality of the world
How?
is that there's
How?
probably going to
How-
be
how
some
should we
suffering
attempt?
somewhere.
How should we?
I mean,
attempt-
that's a really broad question. I mean,
So you don't even
but
believe what
all
you're
I'm,
saying.
all I'm,
You
all
don't
I'm
even
debating
believe
you
what you're
on-
saying. You're
all
not
I'm
serious.
debating. Wait, hold on. All I'm debating you on is your solution that we should use euthanasia or just killing everything as the solution, which I just think is a very I don't even understand. That's just so stupid.
Why?
Because killing everything is like the worst thing. That's like
Why?
worse than all the
what?
suffering you're talking about.
So do you think euthanasia should be banned?
I mean, I'm sure that there's some scenarios where, like, if something specific is suffering, like let's say someone's a vegetable, and it would be humane to pull the plug or whatever, then yeah, sure. But saying that you should just do that to all life is a completely different thing.
So you think dying is bad?
For the thing that's alive, typically, yeah.
Do you think dying is the worst thing possible?
I mean, it's debatable, but it's definitely like one of the worst things.
So do you think suffering can be worse than dying?
It can be.
Right? So sometimes death is a good thing.
Yeah, but you're just applying that to like everything.
Well, it's
and
the
like you're
only
applying
way-
that to things that aren't suffering necessarily too.
Yeah, but the thing is, unless you have a zero tolerance policy on suffering, then you're guaranteeing the worst consequences possible to be forced onto innocence, and that's not fair, is it?
But you're saying that because sometimes things do suffer, no one can live.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Okay, but like, what about all the people or things that aren't suffering or love their life?
Well,
like,
those
wouldn't you
those
say?
who are
Wait,
suffering.
wouldn't you say that there's something wrong
No, no.
with killing
Uh,
things that
no.
love their life or that aren't suffering?
If you think killing and dying is bad, then extinction is the ultimate solution because it prevents billions of more years of dying and killing.
Okay, but like, so okay, why are you alive? I mean, you look like a guy who's like you're
So
dressed up in a button-up
you've reached
shirt.
the
You look
limits
like
of your arguments
no,
now,
no,
and
no.
now
I
you're
know, I
doing
know.
personal
I'm
attacks.
continuing the conversation. I'm continuing the conversation. Like, if this is how you truly feel, then like, how come you're still even with us right now?
Because it would be selfish to just look after myself, right? We should help those that can't help themselves.
By killing them.
Well, again, if killing is the problem, then yeah, extinction prevents more killing.
So, like, you have friends, like, you have like family members, stuff like that.
It sounds like your argument has really, really reached its limits, right? Like completely reached its limits. Look, I always say this, but this show is about exposing irrationality and pushing it to its limits, right? The limits of their rationality, their limited rationality. So if you push a person with limited rationality to their limits, what happens is that they get more and more desperate, right? So they still irrationally think that they're right and that we're wrong. And that's part of the mental brain damage that they have from evolution. And so while they're still thinking they're right and that I'm wrong, they'll be using more and more desperate arguments and counter arguments, right? And it will get progressively more desperate until the point that it's like, it's a joke, right? And that's when I kick them out. Okay? And yeah, this pretty much happens with every single debate. Not every single one, obviously, but you know, most debates, right? I would say that is the pattern. Hello, how you doing?
Okay, so I would like to discuss the means of how you're gonna cause this total extinction.
Okay, yep.
So, why exactly do you wanna like get rid of all life?
To make it safe from suffering.
But isn't it natural to suffer, at least for like animals?
Yeah, but being natural doesn't mean good.
But in nature, there is no definition of good and bad.
Yeah, so animals can't look after themselves. We can look after them.
I don't think that argument is actually right. I think, for example,
so would you ban pet ownership because it's not natural?
I mean, I wouldn't ban it, but it's
But
probably
it's not natural. It's not
no,
natural.
no. It's because those animals have been domesticated. So, for those, as an example,
okay,
like
okay.
for
That's
those
a terrible
cats.
argument. That's a terrible argument.
No, I mean your argument doesn't make sense in first place.
Why?
Because you just said you want to ban pet ownership, but I've just said that as an example for those cats that have been domesticated, instead of like hunting for their food, they'd like to depend on you as an easier method to like for survival.
Do you think? What about the ones that are getting abused? Do you think we should just let that happen?
The cats that are being abused, as an example, like animals. I mean, yeah.
You think we should just ignore it and let it happen?
No, totally not. But what I'm saying,
So it's happening right now. What are you going to do to try and stop it?
Stop the suffering of those animals is probably make a better criteria to choose like the owners of those pets as an example.
Right, and is that going to be a foolproof system?
No, actually not. But
right, so it's not really good enough.
Actually, I mean, look.
Right, give me a second, guys. I've got someone at the door, so I'll be just
okay.
Right, I want you to entertain the stream, Salah, while I'm at the door.
All right. So, guys, I don't know why he wants to end all life. I feel like it could be just humans, but instead, like, all life doesn't make sense, really. For me, at least, I think that, like, humans have broken chains from, like, the animal kingdom. So, if anything, they're probably the ones causing harm here, not essentially animals. Animals are just participating in like the life cycle. JG, the definition of slavery is literally a social construct. If you know that, there is no so-called slavery in nature.
Okay. Where were we?
Yeah. So I just want to discuss like why is it exactly that you've said all life instead of just humans?
Animals suffer worse than humans.
How come? Because I feel like
because nature is the worst conditions, and humans have the best conditions. So, if you were to get naked and try and live in a forest with nothing, no objects, no help, no socks, no shoes, probably be a bad time. Whereas, watching Netflix and ordering pizza, that's not something that wild animals can do.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but essentially all of this is just a social construct. So it all comes from the social contract that humans have made.
What are you referring to?
I'm basically saying that because we are social animals, we have come to make things easier for ourselves through like centuries of evolution. You get what I'm saying?
No, that's because we're intelligent animals, right? But unfortunately, humans are still selfish.
I mean, the definition of intelligent is merely like it is based off human traits.
We have Netflix because of intelligence. Okay.
No, I'm saying that the definition of intelligence is like it all comes back to like how humans define intelligence. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. How is this relevant to why we should end suffering or not end suffering?
I'm just saying that why do you consider all life to be harmful? You get what I'm saying? Like if you were to like cause total extinction, nature would just birth like bacteria and other stuff. How are you gonna kill bacteria? You get what I'm saying? Like how are you gonna kill nature?
You can freeze it.
How are you gonna freeze it if everything is dead? Like cause the ice age? It's just gonna like get back to its like a natural state.
No, there's lots of ways you can do it. So, like, one way would be to create a permanent eclipse with, like, an artificial moon.
Artificial moon? I've never heard that before, actually. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we already have the technology. It already exists.
But I mean, okay, so if life is all about what's in, like, on the earth, how can we, like, if you're saying total extinction for all life, how can you guarantee that no other form of life will just come back?
You can do your best and try.
So it's just an attempt at best.
Yeah, well, anyone that requires a guarantee in order to do something is a coward.
What do you mean by coward?
If you were required to go to World War II to defend your country, would you say, well, no, there's no guarantee that I'll survive, so I'm not going?
I wouldn't go to World War II.
I know you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't, because you won't do anything if there's the slightest chance of stubbing your toe. You're done. Okay. Yes, we should absolutely try our best to help life and to defend it. And we shouldn't say, oh, what if it goes wrong? Yeah, let's not bother. Right, that's just ridiculous. That's irresponsible as you could possibly be. And, if you're an irresponsible person, then I'm not going to judge you or blame you, but I will say that ideally we should be doing better than that. Okay? It's not your fault if you were born as an irresponsible person or a selfish person. That's just the way you were born. That's the role of your genetics, basically. So it's not your fault that you're a bad person, but we do need to find the good people who will help end suffering and provide safety. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, my friend. I just have a very simple question for you. Why is the absence of suffering more valuable than other things like love, joy?
Because it's safety first, right? Imagine if you had two kids and, one of them was screaming in pain, screaming for help, but the other one is having love and joy. You wouldn't just ignore the one screaming for help and give more ice cream to the one that's having a good time.
Why is it safety first? That's a very niche example
So
that
safety first
leads.
is a bad idea.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying that's a very niche example of a certain scenario that happens, and that's
No,
your.
it's not niche at all. We absolutely use this universally all around the world, where we say yes, those that need help the most should get helped first.
Right. Well, not always true.
Not always true, but it should be.
Why?
Why should we help those that need help the most? That's
why?
Only a really selfish person would ask that question.
Is there anything wrong with being selfish?
Yeah, it causes suffering.
But it also can cause love. And so is love lower down? Is suffering the ultimate?
That's a slave owner mentality, basically. It says, we can cause suffering and we can thrive on it. We can exploit the suffering of others. Yeah, of course, that's obviously evil, right? You would be a villain in a cartoon. Okay, we have Grant coming on next. Grant, hello.
Hello. So how are we defining life when you say you want to get rid of all life?
Life is, I don't know, usually it's something that can reproduce, right?
Okay, so you're gonna value like every living thing, including like plants to trees.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say extermination, you mean exterminate the entire planet of all life?
Extinction.
Extinction, fully. Okay. Okay, I just want to clarify that. And then, do you believe humans have any moral value or consideration?
Yes, absolutely. So, as the ones that can help end suffering and prevent suffering, humans do have moral value.
Okay, so why ought we disrupt this moral value, to achieve an absence of suffering?
Our movement is trying to achieve the end of suffering with
Yeah, but why?
extinction.
Yeah, so okay, actually, let's go back a step before we get to that question. What kind of moral consideration are you going to be placing upon a human?
Humans and animals, they can suffer, so we should provide them safety from that.
Huh? I'm asking you how are we providing, moral value to that of a human? Like what constitutes that of moral value to a human?
The sentience, I suppose, yeah.
Okay, so the sentience of a being is what's going to grant the moral value to that, right? So what I'm asking you is why ought we disrupt, the moral consideration of a being, to achieve an absence of suffering? What's the
So
motivation?
instead of actually ending suffering, we just pretend that we did it and then delude ourselves into imagining that we did it.
Huh? I'm confused what you mean.
Yeah, Grant, that's an insane idea. Grant's idea is to end suffering, we should just imagine that suffering no longer exists. Not a great idea. Not a great idea. Okay, that's not going to work. We don't want Grant in charge. If you're begging for help, he'll say, I'm just going to imagine that you're not suffering anymore. Or I'll tell myself that your suffering is moral. Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
Do you have any questions?
What led you to believe this? I disagree with it.
Well, yeah, suffering is unacceptable. No one deserves to suffer. It's unfair, and it's wrong. We should abolish it.
Okay, so what do you consider suffering? What's your definition of suffering?
Negative experiences.
But sometimes they can be good for you,
Yeah, but what about when it's not?
Well, that's just life. It's just a part of the. So it's the cost of living,
So it's okay to abuse children because that's just life?
No, but human beings are capable of both bad and good. Bad and good, and sometimes.
Well, that's not a real argument. That's like the opposite of an argument, basically. Okay, let's see who we've got next. Bringing on Aie. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, I wanted to go to your example where you used the two children. You kind of misplaced your own values when you did that example because for your values, you would kill both children even if only one was suffering to end suffering in total. Just like how you would kill all
simply
humans.
that in regular everyday today life, we do try to help those that need help the most, as opposed to those that need less help.
But it doesn't follow It doesn't follow the logic of what you're actually saying, though. You're saying,
Now,
though, of course, there are some people who don't suffer, but we should kill everyone, and on the basis of that, nobody would suffer. So, in the case
well,
of your,
you see,
hold
you've
on,
got it wrong. You've got it
can
wrong.
I
You've got it all
finish?
wrong. No. Let me correct you. So those that don't suffer, they're still in unlimited danger of suffering. So it's just a matter of time.
Well, they still have,
them.
yeah, they still have the ability to, but it doesn't mean that they are actually experiencing it. So that's just a logical fallacy. Just because you have the ability to do something doesn't mean it exists.
You
That's
know,
just
you're
not
not
how the
making
world
sense.
works.
You're not talking any sense.
How so? If you have the ability, if I have the ability to be 6'3", but I'm not 6'3", am I 6'3"?
Yeah, but you don't have
Answer
the
the
ability.
question.
You don't have the ability to be 6'3".
Well, you don't know that unless you went through my
It's not a very good
genomic code.
example. It's not a
All
very
right,
good
if I
example.
have the ability to eat pizza, but I don't eat pizza, am I eating pizza?
It's not a good example because that's
Why
a
not?
choice. Because that's a choice.
Yeah,
So,
well, it doesn't matter.
well, it does because you don't choose when you suffer, right? It happens to you. So yeah,
Well,
everyone is in danger of that suffering, and they would be better off not being in danger.
regardless, well, even if you were to go with that, regardless of your case, is it what you're saying right or wrong? Because I want to get this right beforehand. You're saying that we should extinct all life on the basis of they have the ability to suffer.
Yes.
So if you have two children and one is currently suffering, but the other isn't, but he has the ability to, would it make sense to now take away both of them because to end one suffering?
Well, it wouldn't be to end one suffering. It would be to prevent all suffering.
Yeah, but you're also,
It would be
so
to make
you
both
would
of them
do
safe.
both.
So we
So you
should
would do both for them.
we should make everyone safe.
Well, no one would be safe if they didn't exist. You have to exist to
So
be safe.
do you support banning euthanasia?
Do you have to exist to be
Do you
safe?
support banning euthanasia?
I mean, yeah, I guess in most cases,
Why?
because I hold moral value to undead, or to potential beings.
So animals screaming in pain and dying horrifically, we shouldn't euthanize them.
You said what?
So animals that have been like hit by a car and they're dying in awful pain, they
Oh,
shouldn't.
well, yeah. I mean, in
You're
the sense of that,
you're
we,
against euthanasia for them.
in the sense of that, we can, but you still didn't answer my question.
No,
Would you,
can you
therefore,
just answer that question? Are you against euthanasia?
not in all cases.
Why
Now, can
not?
you answer my
Why?
question? I just answered yours.
Okay.
Well, I'll answer it after, but can you answer my
Okay.
question before that? My question was, would you kill both of your children if only one was suffering?
Well, I wouldn't say, oh look, one is suffering, we have to get rid of both of them, because that wouldn't make sense.
So, well, you didn't answer my question. It's either would you or would you not?
We would just make sure that there were no children.
That's not what I asked you. In this
No,
scenario
you're
that you specifically,
you're
well,
presenting.
you presented this argument of two people, but
Just
now you
shut up
can't.
already, okay? Just shut up. You're
You presented the
presenting.
argument of two people.
You clearly aren't able to understand nuance.
All right. I'm still waiting for the answer, though.
So that example was not about extinction. It was clearly just about triage, which means helping those that need help the most, right? Which is an obvious and basic, simple concept. You clearly struggled massively to understand it. But yes, if we had two children and one started suffering, you wouldn't just make both of them go extinct. You would just have made them extinct years before it got to that point.
So so it's coming from the basis of wanting to help, correct? Like you said.
It's on the basis that there should never be any danger or risk of suffering ever.
Well, I'm talking about this specific case. You just said it was a triage and specifics of wanting to help rather than anything else.
Oh my God, you are really getting stuck on the wrong thing. Let's forget
Oh my
that.
gosh! Like, but you're just
You've
denying it because you
twisted that
know.
example into something which it wasn't, right?
Well,
You're getting stuck on.
regardless,
You're getting hung up, right? Let's do a fresh slate because you're
okay. All right.
tripping
Regardless of this,
yourself
I'll
up
go
on
into a
it.
new
You're
point. I'll go into
tripping
a new
yourself
point.
up on it.
I'll go to a new point. Regardless of that, if you want to help anyone, they would have to exist. You can't help, or anybody can't receive.
So you're against
help that
euthanasia.
exists.
Euthanasia should just be banned.
No, like I said before, there are specific cases
So
where
you're
it can be the
contradicting
case.
yourself. You're contradicting
Well, they
yourself.
exist. They exist.
You can't
They
you can't
exist.
say that non-existence is never good for you and then say that euthanasia
I didn't say it's never good for you. I said you can't experience help. You're completely strawmanning my argument now. I said
No,
you
you're
can't have the
saying
ability to experience help if you don't exist. Do you disagree with that?
no.
Do you disagree? Okay, then. So how? So then you don't disagree with my point. Why are you trying to argue against it? Therefore,
Because
you don't even understand what I'm saying.
I never said that anyone who doesn't exist actively needs help.
Well, I'm saying you can't help anybody if you're actively making everyone not exist. You're not helping anybody in the end goal. So it's pointless.
You don't think you don't think euthanasia would help those who are begging for death?
No, but I think euthanasia helps because it's only targeting specific people. You're saying
So when
target
you
every
said it
single
wouldn't
person.
help anyone, that was just rubbish. That was nonsense. Then
Okay, I can agree. It doesn't.
that's
I
it.
can
You're
agree with
done.
you on
You're
the fact that
finished. Right? Just absolute nonsense, one after another. Right? The guy cannot make a single sentence which makes sense. That was painful, extremely painful. I ran. Get out of here, dude. It was literally like, it was like speaking to somebody who's upside down and speaking backwards, okay? It was like watching the film Tenet and trying to have a conversation with it, but worse. Jesus. All right. What a waste of time. I mean, I honestly thought maybe he had something interesting to say, but it was like talking to a pigeon. It was like talking to a pigeon. Maybe worse. It was like talking to an angry toddler who has a chip on its shoulder. Okay, next person coming up, Mr. Mythical. Bringing you on. One last before extinction. Yeah, this will be the last one. So whoever comes on next, it's going to be the last one because I do have to go, unfortunately. So whoever comes on next is going to be the last one. Will they be a suffering is good Neanderthal? Or will they be a bit more intelligent than that and say, no, nobody deserves to suffer, and, child abuse does not make you grow as a person? Who will it be? Will it be a smart person or a less smart person? Okay, like I promised, we are going to bring one more person up. The queue is looking a bit weak, but so I've got to make a decision to make here. We're going to go with a philosophy enjoyer. Usually they the most, they give you the biggest headache. Okay, no, he's not in the queue anymore. Who else have we got? Okay, finally someone is joining the queue. Zach, bringing you up now. And loading them in. Loading them in. Will they load? Zach, we're trying to get you up. Okay, we're going to have to go with someone else. Let's see. Let's see, who have we got in the queue? Someone called Danny Botelho. Yeah, TikTok really needs to fix their queue system because it's very inaccurate. It shows you people that actually aren't even in the queue, which is annoying. Okay, next person, trying to load them in now. Mr. Profile.
If you care, if you're so empathic, why you don't help someone ask you now to help them? Like someone will ask you to donate to them.
Because we have a choice, right? We can either go with helping, a larger group or a smaller group. So we have to do what's efficient, what's effective, what's a good use of time, a good use of resources. And with, infinite beings that need prevention of suffering, that's the better use of time. Profile, thank you for coming on. We'll try and do one more just because I did promise. So let's try and get one more debate before we call it. I do have to go very, very soon. So let's see. We're going to bring up GP, an extinction activist. GP, how you doing?
Hey, I really enjoy your lives. Thank you for doing it consistently. I mean, I definitely am very impressed by how patient you are with certain people. So I just have one question regarding what do you think of death? Not in the pro-extinction future, but just in the current life, because I think a lot of people who are against extinction, they're thinking about death as killing, like, or someone getting killed, because in this world, unfortunately, it's like a lot of death is caused by hatred, like femicide, genocide. It's like people are getting killed because it's like someone are being just hating on a specific group of people, and also like we still feel very bad for people who died by suicide because they were bullied, they were mistreated. So I think there's like a lot of negative connotation attached to non-existence in the queue, because like in the comments as well, is that a lot of people, when they think about non-existence, is automatically bad. But I just want your view on death, like in this current life. For example, let's just say it's like a euthanasia done to a pet animal that have suffered a disease. Like, do you view that as a positive thing, or do you still think that's negative because that pet suffered through their lifetime?
Yeah, so I think everyone has a fear of death, but we evolved to have that, right? The fear that we have of death is not there. It's not like a fully rational thing. In the same way that most of our motivations and most of the way that our brains and minds work are not rational, they're there by nature, by evolution, by survival of the fittest. And so, you know, a rational, bloatware, virus-free mind would look very different. And so the fear of death is something specifically given to us by nature. It's not the normal, rational way of thinking about death. It's the nature, you know, masked and fogged way of thinking about it, so that we're scared of it, basically, and so that we'll continue to survive and reproduce. So, one of the best ways is to just think of it as being like it was before you were born, right? Nobody thinks of that in a horrible way, but they do think of the death in a horrible way. So, yeah, so it's going to be like it was before you were born. And, you know, another way is to think of it as like, we don't feel bad for, beings that were never born, right?
Yeah.
And so if they're okay and we're not worried about them, then we shouldn't have to be worried about ourselves not existing either. Nobody wants to die, and there's a lot of things that you hold on to and that you want to keep going, and you want to see your friend again, you want to do this again, you want to do that again. But ultimately, yeah, evolution has given us extreme fear of death, like an overwhelming fear. And so it didn't just give us fear of death, it also made the fear overwhelming. So much so overwhelming that we wouldn't be able to go against it, right? That we would just continue to survive and reproduce no matter what. So the fear of death that we have, it's irrational, it's not accurate. It's completely inaccurate, and you feel scared of death because of nature. If you were able to understand it rationally, then you would potentially say, yeah, I don't want to die. I like the idea of living. But rationally, you would understand that the best thing for you and what you should want and desire, actively desire, like I really want this, is the safety of non-existence. So that is the rational thing. So to be rational, which nature prevents, you would say, I want to be safe. I want to be safe, So we are in unlimited danger. And instead of being terrified of that danger, we're terrified of the solution to that danger, which is to non-existence, basically. So we're scared of the wrong thing. We're scared of the solution, and we completely ignore the problem and the risk of unlimited extreme suffering, which can happen to us, right? I could get hit by a car tomorrow, end up with brain damage, be trapped in a life of chronic pain and confusion with no access to euthanasia for 50 years, right? That's one example out of millions of terrible things that could happen to you. And yet we give them no consideration, zero consideration to the risk of suffering that we're in. And we give infinite consideration to non-existence. So it's completely upside down, and evolution has done this to us, right? We should be angry at evolution for what it's done to us, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that life shouldn't exist without a guaranteed safety. I think it's very unfortunate how things currently are. And okay, thank you. And that's all for my question.
GP, that was a fantastic conversation. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate good conversations, good questions. So, look, this is a very intellectual show. Obviously, we use logic, we use rationality, science, and absolutely, I do appreciate the more challenging questions, the more interesting questions. You know, somebody said in the chat yesterday, you know, can everyone be an extinctionist? And it ended up being a really interesting conversation. I think everyone should try to be an extinctionist, for example, but only those with more empathy will actually find themselves doing activism. Even if you agree with extinction and even if you want to do activism for it, some people don't have enough empathy to go ahead and do that, or to do it every day, for example. And so if you have less empathy, then you're going to, by default, focus on yourself more. And if you have more empathy, then you're going to focus on activism and helping others more. So I think everyone should try, but you know, only those with more empathy will succeed the most. But everyone should do everything that they can. You know, Cora, for example, she doesn't do any, like, she doesn't make videos, but she does support. She does, you know, emotional support, financial support. She donates to the movement and she cheers us on, and even that is a good form of activism. But obviously it's not like full-on leadership and everything. So it does vary in terms of who can be an extinctionist. I think everyone can be, but to varying levels depending on how much empathy you were born with. That is the deciding factor, right? If you have less empathy, then it seems less important to do activism. And you can't really control that. It is based on your brain structures and the amygdala versus the prefrontal cortex, for example. That's one of the biggest things. Right, I'm going to get going, everyone, but you know, please follow the channel, check out my recent videos, and join the conversation on Discord. We have hundreds of people and loads of activists for the abolition of suffering on our Discord. Come and join the conversation there, and consider doing activism with us. If you join the Discord and say, I want to become an activist, loads of people will rush to you and say, okay, great, let's help, you know, because as activists for the end of all suffering and for extinction, the most important thing for us is growing the movement. And so every time we get a new activist, it's like, it's the holy grail. It's the most important thing for us. So, you know, if someone says, I want to start activism, how can I help? They're going to get all of our attention, because that's what this is all about. So we highly prize activists. That's the most valuable thing. That's why we're doing activism. That's why we're doing streams and videos. It's to get new activists on. That's the only thing that matters, really. So that's absolutely our priority. So if you want to do activism, you will get all of the support from everyone in the movement, and you should join the Discord, join the conversation there. The link is on my profile on TikTok, or you can Google search Abolish Suffering Discord. And yeah, I'll probably be streaming maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday if not. So we'll see you, everyone, and